Receiving a large amount of money can be very stressful, and most people have no idea what to do when it happens. Should you spend it? Should you save it? Should you invest it? And if you do decide to invest it, should you drip it into the markets or put it all in at once? I regularly meet people who have sold or inherited a large asset who really struggle with these decisions. So in this video today, I'm going to take you through my 3-step plan for managing a lump sum, and I will also teach you how to avoid the biggest mistakes that cost one potential person I spoke to $51 million. So, the first step. Back in 2014, I worked with a family who sold their business after years of hard work. And within weeks, they went from earning $100,000 a year to having $13 million sitting in their bank account. So they did what they'd always really wanted to do. They bought their dream house, set of very nice new cars, they booked a world cruise and bought loads of presents for family and friends, including making financial gifts to them. They banked with a highly prestigious private bank, and they also made a series of speculative and exciting investments. But very quickly, that warm, fuzzy feeling turned to anxiety and uncertainty as they saw their pot of $13 million shrink by more than half. And by the time we met, they had just $6 million left. You can maybe understand how they felt. Most of us fantasize about doing the same with a big amount of money or a lottery win. But what should they have done? If you need to defend yourself in a big court case, you'd likely hire a great lawyer. Or if you have a serious medical condition, you'd want to get the very best doctor. But for some reason, when people receive a huge amount of money, they are often cannon for the traditional financial services industry. They can quickly get gobbled up and then spat out again. But there is a different path, because managed well, a windfall opportunity can be a profoundly life-changing event that brings freedom, security, and true prosperity. So, if you've come into a lump sum of money, I strongly advise you to get guidance from a professional fiduciary. This is an independent, certified financial guide who can help you get a handle on your specific situation. Because after all, there are only 4 places your money can potentially end up. You can spend it during your lifetime, you can give it to family or friends after your passing, you can give it to an important cause such as charity, or you can give it to the government in the form of taxes. And unless you're a seasoned financial professional with tens of thousands of hours of experience, it's often hard to know how to exactly manage and plan your wealth. But a professional will help you translate your financial goals into a plan and then work out the most effective structure to underpin this. Here at AES, we call this big picture advice. This looks at the big stuff first and then breaks this down into manageable pieces that can each be individually optimized. Buckets such as property, risk or volatility, investments, tax mitigation, and legacy. Getting into the nuts and bolts of each of these buckets will have an entirely transformative effect on the quality of your decision-making, because planning first enables you to get clarity on your decisions and to truly understand all of the numbers. Whereas learning by trial or error or just going on gut feel can often lead to stress and some irreversibly poor decisions. So once you figure out a plan, step 2 is understanding what to do with the money, because the wrong strategy and poor decision making can bring you even more stress or even lose you your money. Whereas smart decision making and the right strategy can quietly build and compound your wealth in the background so that you never have to worry about it again. Straight away, excluding any cash you might need in the short term, let's rule out putting your lump sum into a regular bank account. I've covered how damaging this can be to your future purchasing power in other videos, simply because inflation eats away at your wealth. If you want to build your wealth and make your lump sum work hard for you, you ultimately need to invest it. And in our experience, individuals who receive a lump sum typically come to us with a few different ideas in mind. Some want to invest it only in the US stock market. Now, I've covered the S&P 500 in a previous video, and while this is a good option for some average investors, it does have its flaws when it comes to those with millions. In short, you're only accessing a small portion of the investing universe available to you, and this means that your returns will ultimately suffer. Some others want to buy whatever's hot now. There's always a lot of hype around this, and examples of people who have made money, but whatever's hot is generally speculative and can be a risky bet to put onto whatever is in fashion and what the traditional financial services want to sell to you. Others have their eye on gold, often appealing as a store of value. However, it produces nothing, and any return is dependent upon someone being prepared to buy it off you for more than you paid for it. Finally, people love property. You can see it, you can touch it, bricks and mortar. But a house purchase is a big, highly leveraged, and potentially undiversified bet. I personally love property, but thinking through decisions in detail, and by this I mean on a spreadsheet, before you jump in, will have a huge impact upon your future wealth creation trajectory. In our experience, a little bit of time invested here can make a massive difference. This includes decisions about main homes, second homes, vacation property, investment or rental property, flipping and reselling, buy-to-lets or real estate investment trusts, where it's normally very prudent to take a deep dive into the data. Our recommendation? Well, property, thought through well, and the entire global stock market make good sense. These both provide a rising income over time, with history being our guide. By global stock market, we mean all of the great companies in the world, those full of human ingenuity that have proven undefeated over time and again give great returns to the patient and disciplined investor. Nothing shiny, nothing exciting, just peer-reviewed, time-tested, systematic investing. A globally diversified, low-cost portfolio in the great companies of the world. And time, lots of time, patience, and discipline. The third and final step of the plan is understanding exactly when and how to invest your capital. And this is the biggest mistake that people typically make with lump sums, and it can literally end up costing them millions and millions over the long term. So, to bring this to life, let's imagine that you sold your home for $1 million. Now, you've already made your plan and you know what to invest in, but you're still faced with a niggling choice. Should I invest the whole lot at once? Or should I invest it a little bit over time? Now, most people are very nervous about investing it all in one go, i.e. lump sum investing, because what if there's a crash tomorrow and they've then just sunk the whole $1 million into the market? What if prices dip next week and they've already bought in at a higher price? So this fear leads people to choose option 2, where they just invest a small bit, let's say $200,000 in this case, 1 year or 1 month at a time. They wait and see how things play out and then keep on investing, let's say $200,000 year on year. The idea being that this works out cheaper than locking in the full lump sum at today's rate. By going on this gut feeling, they believe that they're avoiding any big risks or timing the market incorrectly. But rather than trust just their human emotion, let's actually see how the data and the numbers stack up side by side. Take your $1 million windfall. You could invest the whole lot in year 1, or you could slowly feed this into the market over time. The second option might look and feel like a safer bet, but in reality, markets go up 75% of the time and they go down 25% of the time. So the odds that dollar cost averaging will work out cheaper are 3-1 against you before you begin. But to really break down the difference, let's actually compare the performance of the two different options. So let's say you were investing this $1 million in chunks of $200,000 in 2019, 20, 21, 22, and 23. By the end of 5 years, you'd have made $279,109.21 in dollars. Not bad. But if you'd invested the full $1 million in January of 2019, by the end of this 5 years, you'd have made $665,100. And now that is a difference of more than $385,000. On top of that, every day that the money sits inside your bank account, inflation is chipping away at it. Now, the real kick in the teeth that's typically invisible to the unaided human mind is the compounded lifetime opportunity cost of this entirely natural human mistake. For example, I recently had a conversation with somebody who sold his house for $5 million at the age of 43. He knew he had to do something, so he made a cash flow plan. But when it came to investing, he felt that the markets were high and wanted to wait until they dropped before putting his capital to work. Since this decision in October 2023, markets have gone up 30%, whilst his cash has been sat in a bank account being eroded by inflation. Extrapolating this until the age of 100, which is the end of his financial plan, shows the real cost that he actually faces. This inertia, delay, and ultimately fear have now cost him $1.5 million over the last year. But put this into his life strategy up until the age of 100 and compound it at a prudent 6.5% per annum based upon the models we ran through with him, and the true cost of this delay is revealed. It's already compounded to a lifetime loss of more than 51 million. So it is far better to get your money into the market and working for you as soon as possible. Time in the market is the only thing that matters with long-term lifetime investment, and never the timing of it. As I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest issues with investing is knowing where to invest. And people often revert to something like the S&P 500 because it's so well known. But is the S&P really as safe as you think? Now, I'm not so sure, particularly when it comes to high net worth individuals. So check out this next video to find out where the wealthy really are investing.